Welcome back.
Hello.
I'm glad that you're making it back to your sessions. How are you feeling about them
Yes.
so far?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, things are better now.
Okay, good.
Slowly.
Nice. Well, what we're going to do today is I'm going to get a mood check and see how you're feeling.
Okay.
And then we're going to set the agenda for today. So, some things that you want to talk about, the most important things we're going to prioritize.
Okay.
And then I'm going to obtain an update and see how everything's been going since we last met. And then we're going to go over the homework that we gave in the last session and see how that's been going and see if
Okay.
we need to make any adjustments. And then we're going to talk about those important things that you want to discuss today. And then we're going to do a little bit of work today on some of those problems to see if we can help with some skills.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Sounds great.
All right. So, how is your mood? How are you feeling today?
Pretty good today.
Yeah?
Yeah, today was an alright day.
An all right day. So, what does that
Alright
mean?
day. I mean, work was okay.
Okay.
It's a little stressful, but
Okay. What was stressful?
my bitchy coworkers. Excuse my
Okay.
language.
That's okay. Bitchy coworkers. So is there something specific? Is this something you want to put on the agenda today?
Well, I bust my butt all the time there, and I just felt really unappreciated today because I had to go bring my two animals that I watch all the time, and they like yelled at me and told me I couldn't leave, so I
Yeah.
left anyway.
Should we set that as something you want to discuss a little more on the agenda?
That's fine, we can.
Okay. So overall, your mood is fairly good.
Yeah,
Okay.
got to take Opie to the dog bar.
Yay. I know that's somewhere you like to go.
Yes.
Very good.
There's people there that I know.
Awesome.
Yeah,
It's a happy place for you.
it is.
Okay. Good.
My child.
So, yeah, I see you brought your emotional support animal today. So how has everything been going since we last met? Give me a bit of an update.
Um, Good and bad days.
Okay.
Sometimes things trigger me missing my grandmother, and then it gets really sad. But
Okay.
I have to think of the positives of it. She was
That's
around
good.
all of us. It was exactly what she wanted.
Yeah.
So I have to
That's
think of
good.
it that way. And now she's here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I I feel like you're doing a little bit better, like
Yeah.
you're kind of moving into more of like, it's still painful and it still hurts a lot, but I'm kind of coming to terms more
Yeah.
with it. Would that be accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. It's a good process of,
Yeah.
grief. It's a process. So
Yeah.
it takes a lot. So when you say, you're having good and bad days, are you having more good days than bad days, or
I
how
feel
would
like
you
it
rate that?
varies. It's half and half.
Okay, so say in the last 5 days, how many good days have you had and compared to how many bad days?
But I don't know. Work a lot, I cry. Because normally in my lunches I would call her. And
Mhm.
I can't call her, so.
Yeah.
Okay. We're good.
It's tough.
But, yeah, no, it's better. More good days this week than bad.
Yeah. And I know you're like stopping yourself from crying. I
Yeah,
know
'cause
you
I
hate
hate
you hate
from
crying.
people.
I do know that.
So,
But when you're not in front of me, and we're having like a video, or you're not in front of other people, are you allowing yourself to process those feelings?
oh yeah, I cry a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's good, because crying is part of the process. And that's
Yeah.
how we process how we're feeling. And I think sometimes we can get into trouble when we start to hold back and we, just push all of that down and we don't allow ourselves to feel that. That's when
Yeah.
it kind of manifests into, worse things. So
Yeah.
I think, going through that process is good, and I think that you're doing a lot better, and I know that I'm
Yeah.
hearing from you that you're doing better, so
Yeah.
that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank
So homework, how has the homework been going?
you. Well, I've
Wow.
been passing out, so I wouldn't say I've been exercising.
Okay.
But I don't use my phone anymore at night. I leave it on like the side of my bed and it's on do not disturb, so
Okay.
that helps a lot.
Now you've been passing out, tell me about that.
Oh, I don't know. I just I get tired. Just go to bed.
Like passing out, you mean like sleeping, or like you've been passing out like you've been fainting?
Oh no, like sleeping.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like I pass out, like fall asleep.
Okay. So the sleep has been better?
Yeah, no, it's gotten better. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that homework is something maybe we can move to a different kind of homework since
Yeah,
you're
that's
sleeping
fine.
better? It doesn't really seem like we can maybe resolve that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nightmares aren't as bad as they were.
Good.
It's very rarely now.
Good.
It's good because that was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sleep is important.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so as far as the agenda goes, I know we're going to talk about your issue that you had at work today. Is there anything else that's going on that you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. So we'll just talk about work-related
That's fine.
stress. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's go. Let's talk about it. So let's start with today. What's going on today?
Well, we are short-staffed because people are quitting, which that's whatever. That's on them. But this girl always complains. Literally nothing is ever good enough for her. But I finished all my rehabs, which I signed a contract where if I finish all my rehabs and I have nothing else to do, then I can go home, which I didn't have anything else to do. I'm not a tech.
Mhm.
So I didn't know the other kennel girl had left, or else honestly I would have stayed. But you were already there,
Mhm.
and I had to bring them home, so I left.
Okay.
And you know what? That's fine, because normally anytime anyone asks me to do something for them, I jump and do it.
Mm.
And constantly am offering to help people and doing their job, so the one day it's not going to hurt them.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Now, did something happen to where that became like a situation or somebody was not happy?
I think she was just stressed out and just took it out on me, like yelled at me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving. I went back there too and I helped them for a minute, but then I left.
Okay, so the tech that you had said before is like never happy with anything that anybody does for her. She was the one that
Yelled at me, yeah.
yelled at you. Okay.
Mhm.
How did
I
that make
always,
you feel?
Always help her. Like I take rooms for her. I mean, it irritated me. Like it made me feel like crap because I feel like like I said, I'm always trying to help, and then the one day you're gonna like come and yell at me, like that's not cool.
Yeah.
So, but I think she's just overwhelmed, which I get. It is overwhelming when you have 2 doctors and you have a whole booked appointment and nobody's there to help you like hold an animal. So I get where she's coming from, but
I think it's really good that you can see that in her, you know, because I know
Yeah.
you were, you know, really upset originally, you know, when it happened and you were aggravated, but then you're able to stop yourself and kind of put yourself in her shoes and say, you know what, it sucked that, you know, she yelled at me and that wasn't really fair because I do a lot for
no,
her,
I do
but
understand where she's coming from, because if I was in that position, like you can't give dogs vaccines without having anybody hold. Because what if that dog turns around and bites you, or throws itself, or something? It's a nightmare. It's a lot easier to have somebody there with you. So I get
Yeah.
it. I mean, I constantly do work on dogs by myself. I just figure it out.
Yeah.
But it still sucks.
Yeah. So what kind of other stress and stuff do you have at work? I know sometimes you said that that's kind of like
The whole mask thing. Dr. Brown yelled at me today. What was I doing? I was sitting up front in reception area. This is after Dr. C got into it with him. And he comes around the corner and he goes, "You guys aren't 6 feet apart. If you want me to start being a Nazi about it, I will." And then walked away. And then I was looking at our rehab consultation sheet, and he comes over and he grabs. I had my mask like here, so because nobody was there, and I can't breathe with it on. So I pulled it down, and I was reading it, and he comes in, grabs the mask, picks it off my face, and throws it, like, puts it back on, and then smacks me in the back and walks away. What the heck, dude? Like, I just, like, looked at him, I'm like, okay. There's nothing
Did you
there.
interpret that? Well, how did you interpret that?
Oh, he's pissed. He's very angry about the whole thing, because Dr. C went off on him, and then the text went off on him, too.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. Dr. C has a baby at home, and she's worried about it. And not to mention, like, he can get in a lot of trouble for not following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get fined if you're not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So, and I think to him it's all about the money, that he turns people away, is not going to get money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now, how does the stress translate to you? You know, like how are you handling the stress? How is it making you feel? Like what are some things that are going on at work that are, you know, kind of affecting you?
it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't like the drama. It's a lot better when things are just easygoing. Yes, I don't know.
So what do you do when there's drama going on and you're starting to feel like anxious?
I just walk away. I go back to rehab because nobody goes back there and it's just me. So I do something back there.
What are some of the thoughts that you have in your head? Like if something happens, you know, what are some of the things that you think about?
Oh, I don't know.
Like if somebody gets upset about something that you did, you know, and they
Oh,
yell
I
at
just
you.
replay it in my head over and over and over again, and I work myself up. I don't
Okay.
really know about like thoughts. Like I feel bad, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, so you feel bad. What kind of emotion would you consider that?
I don't know. I'm not good at this. I don't know. I guess sad. I don't know.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Sad is good.
Yeah.
So, have you ever heard of automatic thoughts?
No.
Okay. So, automatic thoughts are something, it just kind of is the stream of thoughts that come into our head that, you know, we say to ourselves. So, for instance, you know, like, and I'm not saying this is like your case, this could or couldn't be, but like, say somebody is like upset with you at work or you did something wrong, you know, your automatic thought could be like, oh, I messed that up. I'm so stupid. I never do that.
Yes, I do that.
Okay, you do that.
Yep.
Okay, so those are automatic thoughts. And people that, you know, struggle with self-esteem issues and, you know, self-importance and, you know, like coping skills and stuff like that, a lot of times, for the most part, they're negative thoughts. And not necessarily like positive thoughts, you know, like you're talking good to yourself, you're usually talking bad to yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's something that I want to work on today, if that sounds good to you, because I think it would really help you.
Yeah.
I printed off a bunch of stuff that I want to go over with you, and then what I would like, if it's okay with you, is I would like for you to try to keep a thought record until we meet again, and just kind of jot down some of these automatic thoughts that you're having.
Okay.
And I'll show you kind of how to do it here. But basically what this is going to do is, you know, originally when we talked about CBT, it's, you know, retraining your thought process, understanding why you have these thoughts, where they come from, and then how to retrain those thoughts to positive things to bring up your mood. Because when you have like negative thoughts and stuff like that about yourself, do you feel better or do you feel worse?
I feel worse.
Right.
And I can't get out of it.
Right. So what's the thought record and what kind of being able to recognize and start to change your automatic thoughts and challenge them is going to help improve your mood, and it's going to help you say, okay, well, you know, so like the example that I gave, you know, like, oh, I got that wrong, you know, I'm never going to do that right, you know, I suck. Okay, well, I got this one wrong, but, you know, I'm new to doing this, or it's something new that I'm learning, and I will get it eventually, because there's been other stuff in the past that, you know, I may not have gotten at first, but once I do it more, then I get better. So it's kind of like recognizing, okay, this is a thought, this is a negative thought, and then let's explore why I'm feeling like that, and then let's see whether it's true or not, and then, you know, based on that, then you can start saying, you know, you'll learn how to put in like more positive twist to, you know, what you're thinking. So, okay. So here is your thoughts, behaviors, and your feelings. Okay, so your thoughts are, you know, like what you said to yourself in your head. You know, that negative thing. You know, like, oh, I'm stupid, or oh, I'm, you know, people are going to be mad at me because I don't do things right, or, you know, like I suck at my job, or, you know, all of those those type of thoughts that you have. And then the behavior, is crying, you're going to bed, sad and upset, you're throwing things, you're drinking, you're fidgeting, you're restless, you're, irritable towards other people around you. And then the feelings that are associated with those would be like sad and depressed, fearful or anxious, angry, hopeless, your stomach is in knots, you can't eat, all those kind of things. So your response to those in this example could be, okay, so the response A is, he's angry with me. So the thoughts that this example is giving is, he's seeing somebody else. He wants to leave me. Something terrible has happened. He never calls when he says he will. He doesn't love me. I'm not good enough for him. No one likes me. I'm going to be lonely forever. So those, so he didn't call, and then those are all those automatic thoughts that you're having that are running through your mind, okay? So your response to those thoughts and what we're going to work on to get you at is, so something probably came up. That's why I didn't call.
Yeah.
He's going to call me when he can. He innocently forgot. He misplaced his battery, he misplaced his phone, or the battery ran low, or, he has a lot of work to do. It took longer than expected, So these are all, these are more like the unhealthy thoughts, and these are more like the realistic thoughts. And I know sometimes, like, we have that discussion of, like, what's real? I'll tell you, like, what's real? Is that like a real thought, or is that like something that, you're negatively telling yourself? So it's kind of like the same thing. So, again, here's your thoughts, and then your behavior, call once or twice, leave a message, go on with your regular routine, call a friend, watch a TV show. Your feelings then are, mildly concerned, slightly annoyed, no strong or disturbing feelings or physical reactions, okay, to those, because they're like a little bit kinder, right? Something's probably, obviously, it's fine. It's probably fine. There's nothing happening. Okay. So, one thing I want to go over, though, is the difference between thoughts and feelings. So before you start filling out the automatic thought record, I want to make sure that you know the difference between what a thought is and then what the feeling is. So the thought is going to be like, my job is too stressful, how you're feeling. I'm feeling really stressed. I'm feeling very anxious. And then the thought there would be like related to your job. My job is stressful. So, on occasion, it said the feelings might have an association with this thought and could include stress, anxious, sad, or overwhelmed. So make sure when you're writing your thought record that you're writing the thoughts.
Okay.
And I'll show you over here like how it goes. But make sure you're writing your thoughts and not like, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling, like, that's an important part too. But you want to get the thought and try to, you said that you have them a lot, so you should be pretty familiar with them now that you understand what they are.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to like write them down. So here is what an automatic thought record looks like. So it's going to have the date and the time. And then you're going to write down the situation. So what led up to the unpleasant emotion or thought? What made you stressed, and what were those sensations that you had that, like made you have that thought, okay? And then what the actual thought was. So what was the thought that went through your mind, and then how much did you believe the thought at the time? So that's important for you to record as well, like initially. So, what caused the thought, what the thought was, and then at the time that you're writing down what your thought was, what percentage that you believe that that's like realistic, whatever you're feeling. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then next you're going to write down what emotion that you felt at the time of that thought. So that goes here. And then you're going to want to write like how intensely you're feeling that emotion. So, on like, say like a 1 to 10 or like a, 0 to 100% scale, whichever one you want to use, we'll talk about which scale you kind of used when you come back in. And then your adaptive response is going to be what was the thinking style that you used. So like the questions, and we're going to go over some of these over here, is like how to respond to your automatic thoughts. So your response to the automatic thought, you're going to put it in here, and then you're going to rate again using whatever scale you came up with, either the 1 to 10 or like the 0 to 100. How much you believed that response that you told yourself. And then the outcome. So how much do you now believe the thought after, you've adapted your response to it? And, what are the emotions that you feel now, and then how intensely that you feel them. Okay? So that's how that is. So responding to your automatic thoughts. So some of the things that you can ask yourself is, what is the evidence for that thought? What are the facts? Like I always tell you all the time, like, what's the facts? Would others agree that that is true? So if they looked at the same situation, would they agree with your automatic thought that it's true or not true? What are some of the alternative explanations? So like I said, my alternative was, I didn't get it right this time, but it's something new that I'm learning. And, I know that there's been new stuff before that I've been able to learn, so I'll be able to learn this as well.
Yeah.
So that's your alternative explanation. Some other cases, just depending on your automatic thought, can be, what's the worst thing that could happen with that thought? Okay. And then, this is a good one. So if a friend is in the same situation and had that same thought, how would you respond to them? Okay. So those are some things. Do you think this is something you want to do for the next week? Okay. So we can set this as the homework. So today, to wrap up, you said that you're feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
Sleep is going a lot good. Okay. It's getting a lot better. You're moving through the grief process. So that's good. You're making the steps. We're going to take away the exercise for the day. You're feeling much better about that. You're not really having like as many sleep issues. So we'll take away that, and then we'll add in the thought record for the homework.
Okay.
And yeah, we talked about some stress and stuff at work, and I think this, will help a little bit with you recognizing a lot of those negative thoughts that give you a lot of that anxiousness. And we worked on our thought record, so now we know what automatic thoughts are. We know kind of how they manifest, how they make us feel, and then some alternatives that we can do to start changing those behaviors. Okay. So yeah, do you have any questions? How are you feeling about the session so far? Do you think everything is going well? Is there anything I need to change?
No, it's good.
Okay. So I have us set again for next week on Wednesday. Is that still a good time?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for coming in. Here is your packet, and I will see you next week.
Okay.